I'm Sher Russell from mining.com.au, and joining me today is Brendan Cummins, the Managing Director for Black Canyon. Brendan, I hear you're fresh from site. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Shay. Yeah, it's always good to get back to my roots, I guess, back on the rig, and had a very successful drill program. Wrapped it up before the big brains hit the Pilbara. Apparently, there was 70 mils on the day we were sort of escaping from site. So back in Perth now, and I guess just we put out a good announcement today about some metallurgical test work. So I'm pretty keen to talk about that.
Certainly am, and I probably shouldn't say fresh from site because I don't know of anybody who's ever walked off fresh from site at all. It's normally pretty dusty and dirty. But let's kick into your recent announcement that's just come out now. We've been talking about the manganese project that you've been developing over in the Pilbara, but I believe you've actually increased the purity of the manganese coming from site. Can you tell me a little bit more about this?
So I think one of the key objectives for the project has been to upgrade our. We've got huge resources up there, over 300 million tonnes of resource at about 10% in-ground manganese. And one of the key objectives was to deliver a saleable product in that 30 to 32% range manganese, and we've achieved that. I think we announced that in May this year. We used dense media separation to achieve that type of grade. So we're very happy with that. We're quite confident that we can achieve that 32% manganese concentrate grade, but you always want more. You always want to deliver, and extract more value out of these deposits. So what we've done, we've considered a first stage, I guess, density-based extraction of manganese, and then we've gone and completed a second stage of density-based manganese test work, and we've upgraded the material from 30% manganese to 35% manganese. So whilst that may not mean that much to the general investor, it's a significant upgrade going from 30 to 35% by just using a stage 2 density method. Particularly when you consider that globally the average grade of manganese across all the production out of every country is about 34 to 35%. So we're definitely heading from below the average to the average, and in time we'd like to see ours actually pushing above the average. So just really, it's another step in the process of understanding how the product liberates, how it recovers, and what grade we can produce, and also understanding any other elements that may be within the product.
As we alluded to at the start of today's conversation, you have just returned from site where you wrapped up a drill program. Can you give me a little bit of a summary about what this drill program entailed?
Yeah, so at Wandanya, it's a first pass drill program, never been drilled before. There were some very encouraging high-grade manganese rock chips from that project, and we've released those in the past. They range between 50 and 58% manganese. So very high, and what made them of interest to us is that they are much higher than any other rock chips that we had gathered across our other tenement portfolios. So naturally, we wanted to get out there and drill it and just see what we're dealing with. So I've just come back from site, and I'm just reviewing the data. It seemed quite encouraging, but further news will come out on that drill program later, at some time later.
Brendan, just to bring it back to where we started today, and that is the increase in purity of manganese coming out of site. Tell me, what will this actually be used for?
So the main purpose, or one of the purposes of actually doing this test work, was to produce a high grade manganese concentrate that we could use for downstream processing to manufacture high purity manganese sulfate. So high purity manganese sulfate is about 32% manganese. So the higher the grade of the concentrate you feed into that process, the less reagents and effectively the less contaminants there will be to remove. So that's one of the other drivers, is producing a high grade concentrate to reduce those contaminants when you're looking to downstream process. And the other component is also potentially going into the alloying industry, where most of the manganese goes to. But that's also subject to an agglomeration technique that we're looking at. So basically, the material is quite fine, so we would look at agglomerating it. So that means you're getting the rock, you're breaking it up into quite fine components using dense media separation to separate out the high grade manganese, and then recombining it using binders and pressure. And so once you've done that, then you've got another saleable product, and that's also done quite a lot in South Africa. So we're also looking at that as an adjunct, I guess, to some of the test work we're doing at the moment.
Brendan, this is an excellent development for your manganese project, and I can't wait to get back in touch so we can see what those assay results reveal. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Shane. Good to be here, and feel free if anyone wants to reach out. I'm always happy to chat.